Hey, 553, you've been unmuted.
What's up, John? It's Alan.
What's going on, Alan?
Riding down the road. Uh,
Yeah?
I've got a,
You got an
I've
opinion on
got
this
a,
mask thing?
well, not quite the mask thing, but the enforceability part. Um, I don't think there's going to have, in my opinion, I don't think there's going to have to be a lot of enforcement on the vaccine because they're already talking about, making it mandatory for companies that have more than 100 employees that the employees have to get vaccinated. And these companies are so buffaloed by the government that they think that even if they do find them, they're going to have to pay them or they're going to have to shut down or something like that. And as far as the vaccine card goes, to help push enforcing it, it'll be like what was said earlier. They'll tie it to your government benefits. They'll tie it to where you have to have a vaccine card to get a job application. I drive a tractor trailer. I have to get a physical every year to drive it. There's been rumors floating around the FMCSA that they're going to start tying your vaccination card to your medical card to where you can get your driver's license to even work, to drive a commercial vehicle. I think they're going to have it to where you are forced to get it to live, that they're not going to have to enforce you to go get it personally.
It's
Well,
and in your profession, you would probably know, you've probably witnessed. I'm curious, do you do long hauls or short stuff?
Regional.
Oh, okay. So, and from what I've seen and read anyway, they started monitoring how many hours you can drive at a time, things like that, right? With GPS monitors, and then at one point I even read that they had or they were going to start enforcing cutoff switches and things.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
So
trucking industry is one of the most regulated industries in the country. I have a set amount of hours I can work legally a week. They tell me when I have to take a break, all that stuff.
yeah.
But I've heard rumor that it's going to be, tied to our medical card to where we won't be able to get a physical without having the vaccine card. And if you can't get a physical, then you can't work. I mean, every company monitors your DOT physical, and so does the government. As soon as I get my physical renewed every year, I have to send a copy of it to the federal government.
Or else you can't get a license renewed, right?
Nope.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that it would be nice for the large majority to start grasping, regardless of their professions, is if you don't have a license, then you don't got to worry about that, right?
Right. And that could be another way they tie it to just everybody to get a license, period. You have to present a vaccine card. Well,
I
you
mean,
take
in
somebody's
California,
right away to travel or commerce every day, then they're going to go run to the clinic and get the vaccine.
or the gun store.
Yeah. I mean, they'll find a way to strip enough of your daily freedoms that they allow you to have now. They'll find a way to strip it down even more to where you'll voluntarily go get the vaccine.
I think most
Unless
people
you
by
wish to
default.
do like you said and stand with your back to the wall and fight them off. They just have to take everything I got because I'm not going to get in the shot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the proverbial line in the sand, and it's like everybody's got one, even if they don't know where it is. At some point, your back's against the wall, and you're completely correct about that. I believe, I don't, most people by default picture some uniform at their door accompanying a guy with a needle, or something else to force you to do something. But the truth is, they just squeeze you out. It's going to be one day your monetary card doesn't get approved when you're at the store buying food,
Yep. That's my opinion on it.
I don't know if it's really going to last that long because it's like People who've gotten the vaccine have already gotten 2 shots, and now they're talking about boosters 6 months out, whatever. There are people in this country who have already gotten boosters, and I don't know how much people have done a whole lot of research into mRNA technology, but here's the reason why I don't trust it, is because mRNA technology is a cure. It's not a medicine. And that's why it's never came out before, is because you get 1 shot of the correct dose of an mRNA therapy, I guess. I don't even know if I'd call it a medicine, but basically what it does is it goes in, it cuts open the gene, it rewrites the gene sequence and replaces the faulty sequence, and then it's gone.
And that's terrifying.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Well, the other thing is that when you start giving people way too much mRNA vaccine, what it does is it goes in and actually breaks down the cellular structure to where the cellular structure can't regenerate. Like it will kill people really, really quickly. And this is why you have a couple of alarmist doctors talking about how there's going to be a huge die-off within the next year, up to 3 years. And they're saying anywhere between 20 and 80%. And I mean, I can just go ahead and tell you that all of the lab mice, like in the Moderna studies, it was all within a year. Like I would say 85 to 90% was within a year. That's another interesting thing to bring up, is because you look at the data coming out of Israel, you look at the data coming out of the United Kingdom, and at the very, very least, like best case scenario, the vaccines aren't having any effect. But the new data that's coming out of Singapore right now clearly shows, and Singapore was at 0 COVID before they started giving the vaccines out, and that data clearly shows that the vaccine is causing a huge problem. Well, and now, like, the establishment is just starting to admit that the spike protein is an actual toxin. So honestly, I don't think this is going to be something that goes on for years and years and years. I think it's going to be something that they're going to try and do, and people are either going to get their freedom back or they're going to lose it forever.
And I tell you what, governments are absolutely betting and fully confident that it's loss of freedom. They're counting on people just not sticking around. I just saw a thing today about Australia. They're building a big, not a FEMA camp, but it's a fenced in, quarantine. And they just built a whole nother town, or they're working on it. It's going to be done in 2024. It looks like a pretty big contract bid for somebody that's questionable. So they're pretty confident in people giving in or dying.
I don't know, man. If you go and read the loan applications to the IMF for the whole COVID relief and COVID project that were applied for about the middle of last year, between the spring and the beginning of summer of last year, they say all through those documents that's incredibly high risk what they're doing, that the backlash from the public could be way more than they can handle. I think that the power elite are actually pretty concerned about what's going on right now. And this kind of brings me to this idea, like, I actually wonder what the real numbers are of people who are vaccinated to not being vaccinated, and people who are absolutely refusing the vaccine. Because one thing that we know for certain, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that all of these agencies that report these numbers, they all lie. And they've all said wrong information that they absolutely knew was wrong information at the time they said it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say for sure, is nobody in the common grounds is going to probably ever find that data online,
Well, I don't think they're going to find it online, but, the revolution's not going to be televised. Like, I think we'll know when you have 150 Americans rising up and not 70.
Yeah, you and your lyrics too.
I think that would be a pretty clear indicator.
But as far as right now, we'll never know. They'll never tell the truth because I think you're right. I think they got in over their head faster than they expected to.
Well, and that's why I think they're trying to push this so forcefully right now, is because they know 6 months to a year from now, people are going to start dropping off like flies. Like, here's what I think is really interesting looking at all of the data. It's like the data that I can see in Israel and the UK between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated at the hospitals and what's going on. I can't find anything like that here in the United States at all, which makes me think that the numbers are fudged. But another thing that I think is that they're using the death and the morbidity and the illness of people who have gotten the vaccine. They're just saying that they're unvaccinated to hype up that scare, to keep promoting this whole fear propaganda, this whole fear porn of, oh, you got to go get the vaccine. And I think they know that within 6 months to a year, people are going to catch on and be like, that thing doesn't work so well. I don't know if anybody else knows, but Harvard just suspended their MBA classes, their students who are going for their MBAs, because with 100% vaccination rate among the students and the faculty, they're having a big COVID outbreak and they're trying to control it.